Hello everybody, it's Barb. Welcome to Drama Free Friday. Yeah, I hope you're all having a good day. Let's see, forgot to get rid of my keyboard. Let's move that. So, welcome. Don't see anybody in the chat yet. Okay, there we go. Hello. Just, you know how it is when you don't see somebody in the chat, you go, oh no, no one's here. No one's coming. Oh, it's good to see you guys popping in the chat. Hi, Joan, Becky, Tori, Joni, AJ, Lori. Did I say hi already? Sorry if I did. I call you out twice. Hi, Vicky, Kimberly. Hi, Ina. Sharon. Designs by Mariteza. I don't know if that's right. I'm going to say Arlene's your name, right? Hi, Patricia. Hi, Linda. Hey, Cindy. You love my hair? My hair is just about ready to get cut. Next week, as a matter of fact. It always looks the best right before you cut it, right? Hi, Galena. Hey, Laura. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Violet. Violet, you can lurk or speak up. Either one. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do is fine here. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Janice. Good to see you in the chat. Jean. Got several Patricias here today, so blanket hello to all the Patricias, blanket hello to all the Susans. That seems to be hey, Dana. Dana's getting rain. Oh, we've had your share and more. Hey, Dorothy. Oh, from Canada. Oh, good. Sandy. I'm assuming you're Sandy of Mike and Sandy. Hi, Peggy. And Samantha. Hello. And Donna. Looks like do we have more than one Donna? I don't know, but anyway. Hi, Nikki. You came over from the Jersey Crafter. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Mark Jones from the United Kingdom. Hello. Hi, Marion. Okay. So, hello, Sheila and Susie. If I don't call you by name, it's just because I missed you. Hi, Janet. Oh, wait, who's L? I don't know who L is. Somebody will have to tell me who that is. E-L-L-E. I'm not sure who that is. Yes, Sandy from Mike and Sandy. Okay, good. Boy, we have a lot of New Jersey crafters in the house from Laura. If you have not checked out the Jersey Crafter, she's in the audience, so you can click on her name. If you have not checked out Laura, it should be on the bathroom stall someplace for a good time. Check out the Jersey Crafter, right, Laura? Those of you that were there Saturday night or saw the replay know exactly what I'm referencing. It's kind of an inside joke. There was just, let's just say, if any of you see someone in our chat named Hugh, you need to get my attention really quickly. Hi, Katrina. Let's see, who else did I miss? I don't know. There were some people that came in that I missed. Oh, Jan. Hey, Jan. Oh, it's good to see you. Sharon. Anyway. Hey, Barbara. Yes, Laura is, if you are feeling down and out and you need a shot of adrenaline and a shot of energy, put on one of Laura's recordings. You don't even have to be there live. Just put on a recording. That's all I'm saying. She's got energy for days and days. Hey, Jamie. APG Jamie. So welcome, everybody, and please make each other feel welcome. Need to change something on my other computer. There we go. Okay, so hi, Vicky. Elizabeth Brewer, Lizzie Brewer is she's a stitch. And hi, Gail. Yeah, Lizzie Brewer is a stitch. It's a tie between Lizzie and Laura as to which one is the more entertaining. I'm telling you, good ideas too, which is great. Anyway, so okay, so I'm having a little swill of illegal fluids. That's because the technical department is in Boston at the moment. Now watch, he'll pop in. Yeah. Whoops. I have a fan going. It's hot here, folks. It's hot. So I have a fan going, so some of my stuff just blew off the table. You're always asked. Yeah, I know. You can't. Samantha said she's always asked if we're related. Her last name is Owens. My last name is Owen. And I'm sure we get a lot of that because somebody's always trying to put an S on the end of my name and all of that. So anyway, okay. So make each other feel welcome if you would. That would be great. Claus Man is in the house, I believe. Hey, Nancy Dale. Hi, Azure. So we do have a moderator, but I'm keeping an eye on the chat too. Hey, Susan Gray. And so if anything needs attention, hi Tara. If anything needs attention that I don't see, just somebody put it in caps. And don't freak out. Oh, Peggy Fitzmaurice was working in a journal last week that she created from Classic Queens Ink. Who'd you take the class with? Julie? Julie Faye Fenbalzer? Is that who you took the class with? Or Seth? Seth Apter teaches there too, I believe. I've never been there, but I'd like to. Anyway, technical department's in Boston. He's going to be headed back. He's probably forgotten that today's when I stream. So he's likely to call me on the phone or something. You never know. Anyway, so thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's been a little breathless just to get here this week. It's been a little wild. Let's see. So far this week, we celebrated our anniversary, so we did that on Monday. That was a lot of fun. We went out to a place that we really enjoy going, which is out by the Missouri River. There's a winery out there that's up on the bluff, and it's a really beautiful setting. The river is a very calming and peaceful. Water is very calming and peaceful to me, and I love going by the river or the ocean. But since I live in the middle of the United States, the ocean is kind of out of the question unless I go to one of the coasts. Anyway, so we went out there, and the weather here has been just completely off the charts, crazy. We've had tornadoes, and about 30 miles from here there was I don't know if it was one tornado or several that went through our state capital and cut a pretty deep trench through a certain part of the city. It's not a big city, so it went through and took out a bunch of houses. I mean, really devastated a pretty good sized area in an otherwise not very big town, but it is our state capital, so that was a little close for comfort. We've had weather that has gone on each side of the city where I live. So it's gone south of us, it's gone north of us. We got some that went through here, but not too much. It wasn't too bad by comparison to many other places. And then with all the rains came all the flooding. And so when we were out at the river, there is a thing called the 500-year flood. Not 500-year-old, but the 500-year flood. And that happened in 1993. I don't know if that was 500 years after the last time it flooded. I really don't know. But I found out two things: that in infinity, forever has an expiration date, and 500 years is pretty short, because the flooding that's going on again right now is just about as bad as it was in 1993. So out by the river where we went, there used to be beautiful, lush green farmland. And in 1993, when the river flooded so badly, levees broke and all kinds of stuff, all of this lush farmland was covered in sand, and so it was rendered absolutely useless. Sharon said she sandbagged for the 93 flood. Yeah, they are sandbagging like crazy right now still. And so the flooding is not affecting us in my area where I live, but it is not very many miles from where we are that it is affecting lots and lots of people. So after we did our anniversary thing, then we went on the main interstate, which goes through the middle of my state, and we went over the bridge, which is over the river, and went toward the west to see what the flooding was looking like west of here. And it was the river at that point looked to be, from what we could tell, about 5 feet below the going over the highway. So yeah, about 5 feet. It was getting way on up there, way on up there. So lots of thoughts and prayers and energy being sent to those people that are being affected, because there's a lot of area that people that depend, like there's a trail called the Katy Trail or the MKT Trail, which used to be a train route, I don't know what the word is, that goes through Missouri, Kansas, MKT, Texas, I don't know. Anyway, whatever, the Katy Trail and the MKT Trail, there are parts of that are underwater, which is sad, because then that means that all that has to be repaired, and that's a big touristy kind of thing. So anyway, lots and lots of sandbagging going on, and lots of people displaced and so forth and so on. And then of course, once the floodwaters go down, then you have all the damage and all the, this is supposed to be Drama-Free Friday, so I'm just telling you, there's been drama around here, folks. There's no getting around it. There was drama here. It's here to stay for a little bit. So anyway, yeah, it's been pretty grim. Oh, Gail says she has a cousin who lives near Columbia. He's told everyone to bring swimwear because he now has a pool. Joking about the flooding. Sometimes that's all you can do. Joke about the flood, I don't know. So it has been crazy weather, and now it's just hot. Yep, it is just hot. We went from our son was here a month ago. Came a month ago, and he was here. We had the furnace on, and before he left, it was getting hot, and I was like, I don't want to turn the air conditioner on until the first of next month, and we made it. But the first part of June rolled around, the air conditioner came on. So if you hear the air conditioner roaring in the background, or a fan roaring in the background, that's because it just went hot here. Okay, so that is that. I got Happy Mail this week. Actually, I think it was last week. Put away my coffee. The lid isn't fitting on my coffee very well for some reason. In fact, the lid popped off of it earlier, and it's like, so I had to change my shirt. I got Happy Mail this week, and the creator of the Happy Mail is in the audience today, and that would be Joan Smithies. I talked about Joan a few weeks ago because she has a line of stencils at iStencils, and you get to her stencils through, Joan can correct me if I'm wrong, you get it, her brand is under Patty Tolly Parrish's name or label, the PTP label, I believe. Joan can correct me, she's in the chat. But anyway, Joan has some really, really beautiful designs from iStencils, so I just think that's great. I think she's done I believe she's done 2 releases. Again, she can correct me if I'm wrong. So anyway, I got Happy Mail from Joan Smithies. So I thought we'd take a look at it, and I did open the box, and that's as far as I got. I opened the box. But I have seen Joan's Happy Mail that she has sent to people before, and when she said she wanted to send some Happy Mail to me, I was like, oh. I said, I did tell her to be a little conservative because I know what she's capable of. I know what she's capable of. Joan is the die cutting queen. I don't know if her husband helps her, but I'm telling you, these are a sight to behold. I did peek. I didn't do anything else, but I peeked inside the box, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to move this over, and then we're just going to look. I'm just going to pull them out one package at a time, and we're going to look. And she's packaged everything so beautifully. So there are, she's done them in black and white. These are amazing, Joan. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit just so you can get a really close up. Joan says she was very conservative because her husband kept reminding her. She does the most incredible things, you know, she just does. And the quality of what she does is amazing. I mean, look at these. Look at the detail on these. Look at the detail on those. I don't even, okay, somebody's going to have to share with me how to attach these. I don't even know how to glue these fine, beautiful pieces down. Look at the delicacy of that. Look at that. Joan, are these dies or are these electronically cut? I'm telling you. Incredible. Yes. All right, so those are black and white. Yeah, wow is the word, isn't it? I've seen Joan do this. Oops, sorry. I need to leave something. Black right in here, otherwise the camera's gonna go a little bit crazy. There we go. Matte medium to attach. Okay. They're dies. Okay. So Joan says these are dies. She must have. Okay, Joan, true confession. How many dies do you own? Because I'm going to tell you, it's a lot. Okay, let's look at this one next. They are amazing. Amazing. Okay. And they're all packaged so nicely, I'm telling you. Okay, so let's look at these. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can put out the ones that are unique. How about that? And they're in black and they're in white. So there's the white version. So I'll do that. Look at these, the ovals. Look at the ovals. I don't see ovals very often. How many dies? She says too many to count. Too many to count. Jamie, I watched part of your paperclip video today. APG Jamie has a channel on YouTube, and she did a bunch of really interesting paper clips. I only got to see part of it. She was helping me get ready this morning, and those were really neat. Jamie did she had some great ideas. These are beautiful. These are just amazing. Okay, so we're gonna go through the rest of these. Oh, I see some butterflies. I see some butterflies. Look, coming up in a minute. Yeah, those paper clips were really cool. Wow. Joan, I don't know how you get all the bits and pieces out of these. How do you do that? You have to have a secret for getting all the little bits and pieces out of that. You need to cough that secret up. You need to cough up that secret, because I'm going to tell you that you must have a special vacuum cleaner at your house that does nothing but clean up little bits and pieces. Honestly. A pokey tool. Oh, she has a dye brush. Okay, well that makes more sense. I was going to say a pokey tool would drive me. Okay, I don't drink, but that would drive me to drink. I'm like using a pokey tool, poking all those out. Ah, yeah. Okay, so I should have opened all these little baggies beforehand, but I didn't. Look at these butterflies. Look at the antenna on these little guys. Look at those. I would have those ripped off in nothing flat trying to get those out of a die. I'm telling you. I would have those ripped off in nothing flat. Joan. The detail. Joan. Holy moly. Gorgeous. And Joan does these incredible cards too. Incredible cards. I've seen them. And Joan has listened to me because she obviously knows that feathers and butterflies are two of my favorite things. Yeah. Look at the delicacy. I mean, just the delicacy of these. Tattered lace. Wow. Amazing. I don't know that I would have the patience. I really don't know that I would have the patience to poke out all those little bits and things, because I know even with a brush, those can't all come out. They just can't. They just can't. Joan is the die cutting queen. Although I think Lizzie Brewer could be close. Lizzie could be close. Joan has lots of patience. Oh. I'm fairly patient, but I'm not this patient, Joan, honestly. These are really beautiful. I mean, and they're so delicate. Is this just regular cardstock? I know. Vicky says just putting them in the bags would make her cuss. I kind of hear you. I hear you. So is this just regular cardstock? You must have an investment in the cardstock company. Oh my goodness, look at this one. Look at this one. Look at that. Wow. Wow. I mean, wow. And it's in black and also in white. The delicacy of those. Listen, I don't even know how the person figured out how to make the dies in the first place. And then to have the patience to cut them out. Oh, you leave the mess for Paul to clean up. Aha. And it's 300 GSM card. Wow. Paul, you need to hang on to Paul, Joan. That's all I got to say. You need to hang on to Paul. If he cleans up all that mess, you need to hang on to him. You need to be real good to him. Oh no, the sponsors will never have access to these. No, Chance would be so delighted with these. Oh my gosh, this is making my eyes roll back in my head. Look at these. Okay, now that, I don't know how that's going to get glued on. Boy, look at that. I'm speechless. Okay, I'm speechless. And they're different. Okay. And just like chicken wire, they tangle up. Just like the real thing. I think you could build a crate for something out of these, even though they're paper. Spray adhesive. Sweetheart says carefully. Yeah, really. Okay, let's see what these are. Oh, let's see. What are these? Joan, what is this one? Looks like a little brick wall, maybe. Or a stone wall or something. What is that? I probably have it upside down. I'll put one way and one the other. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like brick. Or stone or something. It's very cool. Oh, there's a little, look. A little confetti. She included free confetti. Yeah, you could use them for stencils. That's true. That's a good idea, Vicki. Use them for stencils. It's a good idea. Okay. Those are incredible. It's a brick wall. Oh, well, good. That was good. That was a good guess on my part. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know. This could be my favorite. I don't know. Butterflies are pretty spectacular, but look at this. Oh, any of you guys that like circles, look at those. That is an incredible die cut. Probably would drive you crazy cutting that out and poking it out, but look how beautiful that die cut is. Do you know where this one came from? That is a beautiful die cut. Of course, anybody that likes circles, like many mixed media people do. And those of you who came here just for the art journaling and the alcohol inks, you're just going to have to hold on to your knickers, as they say, huh? Oops, sorry, they get a little, put up with the camera here for a second. I forgot to leave it something to look at. You don't know without looking. Okay. Hang on just a minute. Camera will straighten itself up. I just forgot to give it something to look at. The camera gets all fussy about stuff like that. Oh, this is great too. Look at this. I don't know how you keep track of what stencil or what dies you have, Joan. Do you have them all cataloged and everything? Look. Listen, I have a couple of dies from Tim Holtz that I've never successfully cut because I don't have the right combination, obviously. Look at these. I mean, Joan and Paul have this figured out. They have this figured out. They have this figured out. Hang on, Jamie, I gotta show your comment. For some reason, every time Jamie types the word fussy into the comment section, it puts a hold on the comment. They're all stored in containers. Goodness. All right, we'll leave that out so the camera has something to look at. I'm still going, people. I'm still going. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, people, now if you think I do not think I have patience. You just turned Jamie loose? Okay. Jamie's comments are getting flagged for some reason. Because she's talking about fussy cutting. I don't know what would that be a problem to YouTube for? Who knows? Look at that. Look at that. Oh, goodness. Look at that in white. Amazing. There are not too many times where I'm rendered completely speechless, but this would be one of those times, Joan. You have done it. You have done it. The delicacy of these die cuts. The delicacy and the patience. Girl. Look at those. Like I said, not very often am I speechless. But I'm going to tell you, you have done it. You have done it to me today. You have done it to me today. Laura, yeah, why would YouTube care about that but not care about Hugh? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Okay, I'm going to have to put that one back in the package later. Because that one was being fiddly. Just me trying to put it in the package, let alone cut it out. Hi, Shy. I know, these are from Joan. Aren't they amazing? Yeah, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Look. Look how beautiful. I'm going to turn it sideways. I know it probably doesn't go that way, but I'm just putting it sideways so you can see all the detail. And here it is in black. Look. Those would even be cool layered together to make it like a shadow. And then these. Look at these. I don't know. Joan, I don't know how you do it. Oh, there's a little confetti here and there. Frames for favorite relatives. Nancy Dale knows about my relatives. I'm going to show them to you here in a little bit. These are just stunning. Stunning, Joan. Stunning. Stunning. I'm just saying. Shy's cutting things on her Cameo. Whew. I don't have a Cameo. I don't have one of the, I'm just going to leave these stacked up like this. This is beautiful. It looks like a trellis. Yeah, I don't have an electronic cutter. I have a manual die cutter. That is beautiful. That looks like a trellis. Can't you just see roses and stuff? Oh, look at that one. Gorgeous. And then in white also. That is really neat. Kind of a distressed look. That's great. Like a stone wall kind of thing. Beautiful. Tara has a Cameo. What are these called? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean, Tara. They're die cuts, but I'm not sure what that means. Laura likes my relatives. Yeah, wait till you see my photo gallery. I'm going to show you. And look at this. Look at this little kitty on here. Little die cut kitty with little die cut corners in a special little box. Uh-oh. Oh, look at these. Oh, look at these. Well, first of all, there's a napkin. A really pretty napkin. But look. They're kitties. Okay, Joan, fess up. Where did these come from? They're little kitty cats. Oh, there's a cat that's angry about something. Got his tail all in a twitter. Oh, this is a Siamese one. We know that. Where did these come from? They're so cute. They're plastic, but they're like those laser cut. Oh, now that's an angry one. I've seen a cat be like that too. They look like those laser cut wood pieces. They're Oh, you did them on your 3D printer. Oh, well, those are cool. My technical department keeps talking to me about wanting me to get a 3D printer. I keep telling him he might be a little crazy. He might be a little crazy. And look at these cool napkins. So she did these on her 3D printer, you guys. If you have questions about 3D printer, you need to talk to Joan. Those are really cool. Thank you. Those are really, really cool. The detail on those. Oh my goodness, girl. Oh my goodness. That Joan, she knows stuff. And then this is the last thing in the box. Can you believe it? That's all she sent. Joan, honestly, thank you so much. I don't know how to thank you for all the beautiful die cuts. I'm going to just stick these back in the box real quickly before I mess them up. And then we're going to look at what this is, which has my name on it. It was in the bottom of the box. I'm a little scared. A little scared about what could be inside this. It could just blow my socks right off, you know? Could just blow my socks right off. Hi, Kia. Yeah. Oh, look, another kitty. That kitty design is adorable. All right, we're gonna cut this. We're gonna come up here at the top because I don't want to cut the kitty. And look, she's got die cuts on the front. Oh, this is cork. Is this cork, that cork fabric or cork paper? I gotta try and not screw this up. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay. Let's make sure. Yeah, I don't think I'm hurting anything. I should take lessons from Lizzie Brewer. She is masterful at opening Happy Mail. I've never seen anybody open Happy Mail any better than Lizzie does. Okay, got it. Thin cork board. Oh, wow. It's really beautiful. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at this. Look at this. Oh. That is adorable. These are the 3D printer pieces. Look. See the thickness? And she has my name with little kitties on it. Oh, is that cute or what? Look at all of that. Joan, I don't know how in the world. And it is big too, people. It is big. It is 8 1/4 by 11 1/2. So I think that's your A4 size. Look. Look at that kitty with a shadow behind it. That is stunning, Joan. Look how nice that is. Barb, this card is made especially for you. May it bring a smile and good luck in all you do. Best wishes, Joan. Oh, look. And it has another one of those kitties on the back. It's the one with the tail. The fluffy tail. Handmade. Oh, it's just a wonderful. Oh, Joan. Oh, my goodness. Joan. Okay, look at this, people. Look, the detail that goes into her work. Can you see all the dimension? Aw, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is just amazing. Thank you. I don't know what else to say because I've run out of words. It doesn't happen very often. Plum run out of words. Hi, Kasha. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in the chat for a long time. Good to see you. And Dirty Paintbrush. Hello, hello. And hello to anyone that I missed while I was drooling on Joan's Happy Mail that she sent. Thank you so much. Okay. I really am a little on the speechless side. I really am. Thank you so much. That was so sweet, so thoughtful, so kind, and you put so much thought into that. Set it off my table so that I don't crap it up somehow. That's right, Jamie. Jamie says, oh my gosh, Joan, you're spoiling Barb. Now when she gets a card lottery from me, she'll be out, well, it ain't no Joan card. That's what we're going to say. We're all going to say from now on, well, it ain't no Joan card. That was really great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's, hi Barbara from Germany. Nice to have you here. Hi, Anne. Yeah, well, the next act to follow that is My Crazy Family. I mean, you got to go from the sublime to the ridiculous, or from the excellent to the goofy or something. So while I'm getting that open, VIP members, How to Get Creative VIP members, your class is tomorrow. Your email has gone out with the information in it. So I will be seeing you tomorrow. Last month at the regular Drama Free Friday whatever broadcast. Yeah, give me Joan has rendered me speechless. So what we did last month for the regular stream is we worked in this journal, which is a journal I made. And so I just thought I would show you. I don't actually have this page completely finished as I would probably like it to be, but I just added some stuff to it. This journal had scraps and bits and pieces in it. We used some distress paint and some stencils and what have you on it. Hey, Mary. And then I went back. This was a paper pad that I think I showed last time, which is somewhere else, and I don't even remember the name of it now. But this, I love these colorful, zoom in. Those of you that like elephants will really like this. Isn't that adorable paper? And then it had the word Rainbow of Possibilities and so forth. So I showed the paper last month, the paper pad. I bought it in an 8x8, which I very, very, very seldom ever buy paper pads for whatever reason, because I don't use them. And although you wouldn't know that by seeing the stack that I have in my on a shelf, but I don't buy them as a rule. Anyway, those pieces just seem to fit on here. It says color your world. That's what this says. And this was an image I had in my junk, and so I just stuck it in here and put some little dots on it. And this was something, just some words. Hey, Ruth. And so these were just some words that were stuck in my box of words, because we had the longest, absolutely longest winter going. Just this hugely long winter that started in November, and it kept going and kept going and kept going. And then we finally got spring. But this was another piece from that paper. Imagination can take you anywhere. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Albert Einstein. So yeah, just little bits and pieces from that paper pack that I stuck on here because the colors went together and it let me use the paper. And then this was just magazine stuff. Okay, so that was what we did last month. Then when my son was at home and we were doing some testing, because we once again I know this is hard to believe, but you know, here's my big beef with technology. one of my big beefs with technology is that it's always constantly changing, and it never lets me just learn something and stay put. No, it doesn't. Because the minute we have it all together, you should see my notebooks of notes. Okay, my notebooks of notes, I have file folder. I try to stay really organized, but yeah, nobody would ever believe that if they saw this place. I try to keep all the notes so that I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm supposed to, you know, do whatever it is that I do, right? And then they will change something. So the program that controls my cameras and everything isn't going to be supported anymore. They're going to just let it die a slow death, kind of like they did with Adobe Flash. It's not the same as Adobe Flash, but kind of on that order, you know, where they just let it die because they'd say, no, we're done supporting that. We're tired of that. So last month when the technical department was in, we had to make the big switch over to a different program. So it's a long-winded explanation to say to you that we did a test stream, and so I created a whole new family, and so this is my family. So we did all these, and they're called watercolor funny faces or something. There's two parts here on YouTube that you can look at. One where I do the faces, which is directly influenced from a class with Carla Sondheim, that I took the idea and then went off in my own directions and my own direction. And then after that, I did a bunch of the finish up things, all the details. And so here, and so I arranged them in a photo gallery. And this was another thing kind of like this, you know, where it just had scraps on the page. So then I just put colors on it and some stenciling and so forth. Some trees in the background, like family tree. And then, and so then this morning I captioned it, and this is one of my favorite quotes. Friends are God's apology for your family. And that was said by Wayne Dyer. And this is in, from the snarky edition of one of Tim Holtz's little paper packs. If you met my family, you would understand. Okay. Now, if any of you have ever read my book, which is Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore, an inspiring story of hope for caregivers, the short name is Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore. If any of you have read that book, you'll understand. You'll understand the reference to this page. So yeah, friends are God's apology for your family. The first time we heard Wayne Dyer speak in person, and when he said that, I just about fell out of my chair. I laughed until I was on the floor, because it's so true. Now, having said that, if you people who are here and watching me have wonderful families and everything is perfect in your world, I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. My family is very few people, because I divorced all the rest of them. But that's another story. Okay. So anyway, there is my family. This could be the family photo album. This could be the friends photo album. You can just sort of take your pick. Anyway, I had a few relatives left over, or a few watercolor faces, or a few friends, or whatever you want to call them, left over. And so what do you do with leftover things? But I make cards out of them, because I use a lot of cards. And so that's what I have going on here. So most of these are, again, I made, put them as though they were in photo frames. This is paste paper in the background. These are pre-made card bases, because I refuse to make my own card bases. Not when you can buy them and they don't cost very much money. And these are from the Tim Holtz snarky, aren't they snarky chat or something? Let me see. the small talk, snarky, impertinent. Some of them I have to be careful who I would send one of these to, but anyway. So this is Where's the Unsubscribe Button on Adulthood? Yeah. So I just picked the ones that seemed like they fit. Same thing. This is paste paper in the background. I have many videos doing paste paper here, but I love doing a bunch of paste papers, and I have them. I can cut them out, and they work well behind this because of the big black oval frame. When in doubt, vacation. Sounds good, right? Some of these are not too snarky. He could see no good reason to act his age. She could see no good reason to act her age. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I meant to behave, but there were too many other options. Yes, too many other options. Hey, Judy. Hey, Debbie. Snarky chat. Yep. Snarky small talk. I meant to behave, but there were too many other options. And this is also paste paper in the background. But see the plain paper versus the paste paper. There's a big difference in how they look. You know, just I like the paste paper, but this one just seemed like, I don't know, just seemed like that. Anyway, and a friend of mine is retiring from working for many years, and so I just think this is a good card to send her. Hang on a second. I had to get a little drink. She's retiring from a job that she's glad to retire from. We'll just say that. Well, that's a level of incompetent I've not seen before. Forecast for today: unproductive with the chance of a nap. You know, sometimes it doesn't have to make sense, does it? So, anyway. And besides that, those crazy little people just seem like they would say those things, don't they? They just seem like they would say those things. So when you have people left, because I tend to do lots of these, like many of them. If you have them left over, make cards out of them. Yep. Hi, Josie. Okay, so that's that. Finally, we're ready to do something, right? So what we're going to do today is we're going to do what's called, well, it's a technique based from a book. I'll show you the book. Hang on just a second. I need to send a text message. Just got a message from the technical department. I'm not the president of BAM. I think there's some people that are even worse than me. I think so. Okay, so what we're going to do today is based on this, a technique from this book. I belong to a book club, and we meet a couple times a month. And this is the book that they've been working through. Rarely do I get to do anything that's inside the covers of the book. In fact, we've worked through this book a couple of times. Neither time did I get to do much of it. But this one, the technique we're going to use today that's based on this comes from, I've forgotten what her name is. Her last name I think is Crane. Hold on. I should have marked it. I should have marked it. If you like alcohol inks or you're curious about alcohol inks, this is a good book for, it's eye candy if nothing else, I'm telling you. It is some serious eye candy. Oh, where in the world is that? Getting close. I'm getting close. Here it is. It is by Billie Crain. Billiecrain. So this is the type of technique that we're going to do. It's batik. It's a wax paper batik. So anyway, there's a link to this book in the description below if you want to check it out. You're welcome to do that. But it is a very it's a very extensive I want to say exhaustive, but I don't know if anything's exhaustive, but it's a lot of information about alcoholics. All right, so I'm going to get a piece of newsprint. The reason I have an apron on today is because this is messy. And so I saw somebody ask earlier if the pin I had on, which I'm assuming you're asking this one, if this was a pin that I made. It is. This whole apron, I'm going to stand up for a second. This whole apron is all different kinds of mixed media techniques in fabric, and then I embroidered the names for the different techniques on it. So when you see me wear this, it was an apron from a class I did a long time ago. Okay, so the first part of this starts with wax paper. Mary, the Mary ATA is going to love this technique. She's going to be doing it, I bet, if she hasn't already. Wax paper. Nothing fancy. Just plain old wax paper. It is not parchment paper. It is wax paper. Or waxed paper. Depends on how you like to say it. Oh, thank you. And because I still have recording that I need to do later today, I'm going to put on gloves because I don't want to clean the ink off my hands if I can avoid it. I've already had to do that once today. You either need to put on a skin barrier of some kind, or you need to put on gloves of some kind. Yeah. Now the chat's having a competition as to who is the worst at mailing. Hello, Peg. All right, so here we go. So this is just a piece of newsprint. It's just junk paper to protect my desk, and this is a piece of wax paper. Nothing fancy. It's from the kitchen store. Kitchen, wrap section of the grocery store. Oh, well, they're probably still good. Skin barrier products. One that you can use, and this is not going to keep it all out of all parts of your body, but it does put a barrier on your skin that allows you to get stuff off your skin a little more easily. It doesn't keep everything out, how do I say this? It won't keep everything from penetrating your skin. If you want stuff that is going to not penetrate your skin, you need to use some product that specifically says that. But that gloves in a bottle I like it. It's not greasy. So you can work with paper or fabric afterward. Okay, so as you can tell, while I was doing that, I was just crunching up the wax paper. And you want to crunch it up, get lots of little cracks. And I don't know that everything I'm going to show you is exactly the way they did it in the book, but I've played around with this quite a bit this week, and I really like the effect that I got from it. So the person who actually did this may have a little different, just zooming out just a little bit so you can see the whole sheet. I'm not saying that everything I'm doing on this is exactly the way it was in the book. I just use that as kind of a jumping off place. Okay, so there we go. Piece of wax paper with lots of little cracks. And if you don't have lots of little cracks, in one spot, then just crunch up that place. Now, once you do this to wax paper, it starts getting a little more fragile, and so you want to kind of be a little gentle when you start handling it. But I'm showing it to you this way so you can see all the cracks and texture in the paper. Then when you put it down, that kind of disappears over this cruddy paper that I've got below me, right? Then what I'm going to use is I'm going to use Sumi ink. All right, this is Sumi ink. It's an India ink type. I don't know if this actually qualifies as India ink, but it is. This is the one I'm using. They said India ink in the book. Okay, but this is the one I grabbed. And it worked, so that's what I'm using. So this is Sumi ink. You want something that's going to dry permanently. I did not try it with acrylic ink, so I don't know if it works with acrylic ink. Anyway, it might be fine. You need a tiny little smidgen. Tiny, tiny. See how little that is? And that's more than enough. And then just a cruddy brush of some kind. This is a chip brush from the hardware store. And I rinsed this out earlier. I'm going to make sure that it's as dry as I can get it. And baby wipes. Okay, that is what you need for the first part of this. And you need a couple baby wipes. And when you do this, wax paper's cheap. Do a bigger piece than you ever think you're going to need. Okay? Okay, there we go. Hi, Sophia. All right, so I'm going to get the tiniest little bit of ink on my brush, okay, tiny. And then just put it on here. It's going to beat up like crazy, okay. Don't put very much on this paper. And I only put it up here at the top. Set the ink out of the way. Before this dries, get your baby wipe in here. Look, see how far that ink is going to travel? And the reason I have this paper underneath is because I'm purposely dragging the ink off the edges. And as this colors the paper, do you see how it is coloring the cracks? Okay. And there is a fine line here, a fine line, where you got to get enough ink on to show the cracks, but not so much ink on here that it will color the paper. Like that is way too dark. So immediately start moving this around. Now you got to be careful with the wax paper, because once you start doing this and introducing moisture into it, you can rip the paper. Like I said, it's cheap. Okay, it's cheap. But you want the cracks to show up. Okay, see those cracks? Those are good cracks. You want the cracks to show up, but you don't want to ink the paper so darkly that you can't see through it. You still need to be able to see through it. But as I said, be careful that you don't rip the paper. And then you just keep going. So when it runs out, you can't get any more color, then pick up a little bit more, brush on a little bit more ink. And keep turning the baby wipe. Because like I said, you're after, the goal is to get the cracks to show up. Without ripping the paper, and keep the background light. Okay, can you see? See how there's no cracks being shown over here. So I'm not done in that spot. But I'm keeping that brush as dry as I can. And you kind of want to go all different directions. Okay, all different directions. Sometimes the cracks show up more easily than others for some reason. I only use this one brand of wax paper. I did not do an exhaustive study of wax papers. So if you have a wax paper and you go, that didn't work with the bean on my wax paper, I apologize now to you. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay, so there you go. See? Now, this part in here can use a little bit more because I'm still not seeing the cracks are still not showing up there. Again, I apologize for you having to listen to the roar of the air conditioner in the background, but it's either that or I'm not streaming because it's too hot. Okay. Now, you don't want this, as I have said several times, you don't want this very dark, and it's super easy to get it too dark. If you get it too dark, you're going to hate yourself. And it's going to kind of press out almost all of the cracks. Okay? All right. So, once that is done, I'm going to just kind of clean off my gloves a little bit with another baby wipe. All right. And this needs to be set aside to dry. Which doesn't take very long, but you can see if you don't have something down on your surface, all of that ink is going to go on your table. Yeah, and then you see that little teeny bit of ink that I had in there. There's still maybe some left. No. Sometimes I put too much in the thing, in the little dish, and then I pour it back in the bottle. Okay. Hi, Krista. That's no worries, Jamie. No worries. Okay, you want to clean this out, so I'm going to go stick this in the sink. I'll be right back. Jamie, it's just probably somebody I'm related to. Listen to me. Hey, CB. All right. Getting my gloves off for the moment. I may have to put them back on because the alcohol ink's here in a minute. Okay, so that's your background. All right, that's your background. Then you can decide what kind of thing you want to do. So I did a couple things. I did an art journal page, and then I did some cards. Okay, so I'm going to show you the finished bits. Don't you know there's one finger that won't blow out? There we go. All right. So those are ready to use by me. So I'm done with this. But I keep stuff like this, newsprint like that, I just keep it around for that very purpose. Okay, so back to said art journal. And I'm going to show you the art journal page that I did. And I'm going to show you, this is not the finish. First of all, let me show you the cards because they are what I term a great success. You may not think so, but I do. Okay. Okay, so these are the cards done with this technique, which I'm going to take you through and show you how I did these, okay? But this, you can see the background, you see all of that cracking, okay? That's what we just accomplished before we add color to it, okay? Okay. Here's another one. This is done with alcohol ink and the wax paper technique that we just did. Oh, thanks, Krissa. And here's another one. Now these are all using mandala designs from a couple of my ebooks. One of them is a free ebook. The other one is a purchased ebook. But I'm going to show you exactly what they came from. But these are all from using the technique and creating cards with it. And all of these started out with that wax paper about the color that I just showed to you. Okay, let me show you one. So that's how dark it was. Okay, because this was one of the cards. Okay, so that's how dark that wax paper was before it turned into these. Okay, so it's very light, but when you get that initial ink on it, you do get those the cracks stay and show themselves, which I love. I love this personally. The first thing I did, however, I did a I'm looking for my sample here. Okay, this has a little bit of alcohol ink on it, but the first piece that I did, I hope you can tell the difference in, you have to ignore this, the darkness of this versus the lightness of this. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. See how dark this is? You've got to stay light in order to get the effect that turns out like this. Okay? All right. So the dark one that I just showed you became this art journal page. Okay, so it became this art journal page right here. Now it worked in the end. I made it work because I added the addition of, sorry, I can't get it in the right spot where I want you to be able to see it all. There we go. It ended up working out okay because I used the white pen to call out all the bits and pieces. But what I was really wanting was, I really wanted the bright colors of the alcohol inks to speak for themselves. Okay, that's what I wanted. And this was way too dark, and I went, what? Why is this coming out like this? It came out that way because I started out with the wax paper being too dark to begin with. Yeah, so I mean, it's still okay, but you know, wasn't what I was after. Okay, so anyway, this is added into an art journal. This is that same journal that houses the relatives / friends and other stuff. You know, it's just a variety of stuffs, but that is what is in here. Okay, so that's been added on top of a snow white, no stuff in the background, snow white art journal, plain piece of paper. Okay, all right, so we're gonna play with this idea. All right, all right. So I'm going to talk to you first of all about the art journal page. So this is where that art journal page came from. This whole thing, all of these are pieces. I'll just give you a quick look at these. These are pieces that I did for one of the classes on color theory that's on the How to Get Creative website. So these are all painted pieces that illustrate various color combinations and so forth. So monochromatic, triad, analogous, split complement, and this one, which was complementary colors. So this is the one I went for because that's the one I decided to use. So what I did was I traced the design off, and if you will notice the position of this flower on the piece. This is a little fabric quilt. Okay, notice the position of the flower here versus the position of the flower here. You can see it's been flipped, right? That's because it has to be flipped for this to turn out the right way. So if you're going to do something like this with words, you need to flip it around. Otherwise, the words are not going to read correctly. So this is one of those things that I am honestly absolutely not good at. I am not good at upside down or backwards. And if you do upside down and backwards in the same thing, I am toast, right? Yeah. I put them on, I attached the piece of paper to the card or the art journal page with matte medium, and then I put matte medium over the top. Golden matte medium is what I used because that's what I had. I tried some other things like using the Tim Holtz glaze to see if that, if I wanted to do that, but I didn't like the way it felt. And anyway, I used matte medium, and the matte medium did kind of move the ink a little bit on the top, but not much. So I don't know. I think you just have to play around, honestly. I'm just showing you what I did. Yeah. So the big thing that I just want to call your attention to when you do this is that it has to be flipped. So what I did is I had the tracing of this image, which is what I was going to work with, and I left off this because I just decided I wasn't going to do it. And then I scanned it into my computer. There might be an easier way to do this. I scanned it in my computer and I flipped it in my computer and printed it back out. So that's what I did. Oh, thanks, CD. Okay, so we're going to work with this one just so I can show you the idea. I already have it ready to go, but I just want to show you the idea. What I have it attached to is, this is a light pad, light pad 930. It's the Artograph brand. This is a 9 by 12. I think, yeah, this is the 9 by 12 size. They do have one that's bigger, which I did not, I thought about doing at one point, but I decided not to. They have these pads now that are really super thin, and I think it would be fine too. This is the one I had, so guess what? It's the one I'm using. So then I'm going to take my wax paper that's been treated. So here's a piece that I did early this morning, and so it's well dried. And when you look at this, you need to determine which side is the side that has the ink on it. Okay, so you see that's got a lot of black showing up. I'm going to flip it over and look at it on this side. And you see, you can especially tell in here that there's not a lot of ink. So therefore, this is the non-inky side. All right? All right. So I'm going to put that side up, the non-inky side. It's the back side of our piece. When you do this, make sure you oversize the wax paper because it does crunch down, and it also you want to have plenty of space around the outside edge. So allow yourself lots of margin for error. And I've taken my pattern, which is on a piece of junk paper, and I have taped it down to the light box because if I can't see it, which I think you guys are going to be able to see it, but on that really dark one that I showed you, I could not see it unless I had the light box, the light pad on. And so then what I did was I just took some painter's tape and I just taped it in a few spots. Make sure that your painter's tape is going to be well outside of the area that you're going to use, or even better, stick it on your clothes or something so that it doesn't stick too tightly. And I crunched that up. So anyway, it's a good idea to tape it down to your light box, especially if you, or your light pad, especially if you have a fan blowing, which I do. Okay. And remember, this is not my original technique. I'm just using what I read in that book and played around with it. Okay. Bye, Dana. Good to see you. See you tomorrow. All right. Next up is a very expensive tool. I'm kidding. It's not at all. It's a Sharpie. It's just a Sharpie marker. Okay. And this is the fine point, which to me is a misnomer. I don't call that a very fine point, but that is what is labeled on here. It's a fine point. It's an alcohol marker. You do want it to be fairly fine in the point. So what I did was because I'm right-handed, I start in the far left, kind of up at the top in the far left, and then you just look through your tracing. And I'm not going to turn the light box on, or the light pad, because I think you can see it without. And when you trace on here, I found that it wanted to, sometimes the inked lines spread on the wax paper. They kind of found those little cracks and they kind of feathered out a little bit. And I like that. You know, I kind of like that idea. And so it kind of happens. All right, then you just keep going. I like this because I did not try any other kind of marker. Have no idea if it'll work with Copic, Spectrum Noir, or any other kind of solvent-based marker. Might be fine. Don't know. Can't answer that because this is the one I used because it's what I had. And if you don't do it exactly the way your tracing or your pattern is, then you got to work with what happens. Okay, so you want to put in all the flowers. This won't take too long, so let's just do it. But obviously I can't talk and do this at the same time. Another reason I chose this design is because it's one I was familiar with. What you have to look for is things like these flowers are down in a jar, okay, or a vase. And so you kind of have to do all this stuff first, and I'm not seeing this very well right in here, so I may make it up as we go along. So I want to complete all the stems and the flowers first, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put the edge of the top edge of my vase in place. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And you may see some lines kind of overlapping, like in here where the vase and the flower are overlapping each other. That's just because of the way I traced it. Alright, so now I want to work around the flower stems because the flowers need to be inside the vase. Okay? So work around the flower stems and around the flower petals. And I'm doing this quickly, so if I make a mistake here or there, we'll just have to live with it. Okay? So hi Pablo. If you didn't scan the picture, flipped it in your computer and printed it again instead of just put it face down in the light box, wouldn't that be enough to see the design? It might be. In my case, it wasn't, because I had stuff, I was recycling paper, and so I had stuff on the other side of my design. And so the stuff on the other side of the design was showing through. So yeah, it wasn't working for me. But good planning, good thought. Hey Shelly, crafting Mama's Shelly. Okay, so there is the design. Okay, and it's on the back side of the paper, and the design is upside down. I mean, for every way that I show you something, there's 100 ways to do it. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to get rid of my light pad. Which I love that thing. I love that thing. I'm telling you, I can work late at night and everything's good. I love that. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over. So this is the side we traced on. So I'm going to turn it over. And so now you can see that the design has gotten filmier, as it were. You know, it's less apparent. And so in order to be able to see it for me and for you, it helps if you put a piece of white paper underneath it. Okay? It's good if you put a piece of white paper under it. All right, let me check my notes here for a second. Yeah. All right, so we're ready to do this thing. I'm going to put a this is my alcohol ink mat down just to protect my surface, and it's good if you want to it will help kind of keep things in place if you just add a few little pieces of painter's tape to the back of this. It'll just kind of help keep it in place, but don't stick it down for all it's worth, because you want to be able to move that white paper around if you need to. But I just found that it helped kind of keep things in place. Okay, so there we go. All right, now I'm going to use alcohol inks. And so what I did is I took alcohol inks, and this is an alcohol ink palette. Now you can do this any way you want. I'm just showing you the way I did it. Okay, I do not claim to be an authority on alcohol inks in any way, shape, or form. Just telling you what I did. So this is an alcohol ink palette. This is the thing that Tim Holtz and Ranger came out with. I don't know which way you're supposed to use this. I started it one way, so that's the way I'm going to use it. I flipped the lid up out of my way, and then these are all alcohol inks. What I did was I took a piece of plain cardstock, the same size, and I drew circles using a stencil. Just, you know, my favorite circle stencil from Crafter's Workshop that's no longer available, darn it. Anyway, I drew the same number of circles as there were in each row of this little palette. And then I labeled what's in each little well, and what there's no rhyme or reason because I just picked the colors I wanted to use. Okay, and so I labeled them. So Pinata is one brand of ink I have, and Ranger is the one I have the most of. So once I did the Pinata and a Ranger, after that I just did an R and a P. That's what that means. Pinata is the P, R is a Ranger. And so I squirted those colors in these little wells. Okay, alcohol ink dries up really super fast. I mean really, really, really fast. These are all dry. They may be sticky, but they're dry because the alcohol evaporates out. And I did swatch the colors on here so that I had some idea what color was going to happen. Now some of the colors are quite close together, like Patina and Pistachio are very close. When it shows up on the paper, it may show differently on this stuff, but on white paper, which they're not meant, these are not meant to be on a porous surface like this. But I just needed to be able to see what the colors were just a little bit. So some of these look really close, like Red Pepper and Poppy Red, Poppy Field, I think is the actual name of it. They look really close. It's not, they're not quite as close when they're on a surface like this, but you know, just to have some idea. Because for example, Stream is more of a turquoise color, more of a blue-green than Bottle is. But when they're on the palette, this is Stream and that's Bottle, you can't tell the difference, okay? So that's why I did what I did. There may be other ways to do it. All right, now to work with this, you can do this a couple of ways. You can keep squirting alcohol inks into these little wells, or another thing I tried is using alcohol, and I have a couple of different alcohols, 91%. And this one is 99%. 70% is not enough to dilute these, in my experience. So I'm going to work with the 91% today. 99 is what I used when I was doing the samples. I just want to see how this works. Okay. So yeah, this is what I did. I'm just going to show you what I did, and we're going to go from there. Yep. So I have a little dish. I'm going to put alcohol in the little dish. Okay. This is what is your replacement for water. Meanwhile, back at where we were. Now, if it freezes up again, we're just gonna we're just gonna deal with it. That's all. We're just gonna deal with it. Where was I? I don't think I told you that I'm gonna also tape my wax paper with a little bit of painter's tape down to my surface that I'm working on. Put a little bit on there. Okay, we were talking about alcohol inks. That's where we were, and the palette. So you can squirt the alcohol inks into the palette. Now they're gonna go away very quick. Oh, I know where I was. I just now found the I just now found the trail. What I was trying to do, as I was trying to come back to you, is to say, if you have any kind of breathing issues or asthma or anything of that kind of thing, this is not your thing to do. Alcohol ink is, you can really react to alcohol ink, and an open container of rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, you can react to that. So be very, very careful if you are one who is prone to reactions with your breathing system. Okay, that's my public service announcement. All right, there. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. This time I'm going to stay in the shot so that if something messes up, I can still talk to you. So you may be looking at the top of my head most of the time, but anyway. Okay, so this is upside down. The Sharpie is down. Okay, the Sharpie marker is down. And this is the inked surface of the wax paper that's facing up. I'm just using some regular paint brushes. I found that working with just a little inexpensive angle brush I liked. You might like something else. When you're doing this, you're going to end up with some really pretty painty paper towels, and I just keep using the same one. At some point I'll do something with it, slap it in a journal or something. Alright, so I just have my painty paper towel. I have a little container of 91% rubbing alcohol, that, or isopropyl alcohol. That is, it is going to act as my thinner, and also it's going to wash out my brush. So instead of using water, I'm going to be using that alcohol. So when it looks like I'm swishing this, we'll put this over on this side so you can see it. When it looks like I'm swishing this in a container of water, that is alcohol. Okay, alcohol. All right, now to work with the colors, you can either squirt out, keep refreshing the little wells so that the inks are wet, or the other thing that I did that kind of worked is I just took a little pipette, and before I used a well, one of the colors from the well, I would just add a little alcohol to it, and that seemed to work okay too. So alright, so I'm just going to work with, I can't remember exactly what I did here, hang on a second. Let's see what kind of colors did I use on this. It's been a minute since I did this, like I slept since then. You know what I mean? Let me find my page here. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a yellow. So I'm going to get my brush wet with the alcohol, and I'm just going to pick up some of this. And it's very different than working with paint, okay? And then I'm just going to paint some petals. I'm just going to paint some petals like this. What you hear roaring in the background is my air conditioner. This one is going to turn out completely different than the other, because I think actually what I did on the other was I worked with oranges. Oh well. You'll get the idea. You'll get the idea. Alright, so you see I only dipped my brush one time and all that. Only once. And I got all those petals. Then I'm going to wash out my brush, see, in alcohol. I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick up an orange. Let's see, what kind of color do I want? So I'm referring to my little color key. So I'm going to use this Valencia in here. So this time I'm just picking up some alcohol and just reactivating. Wake up the ink. Okay, wake up the ink. And then I'm just going to put a little bit in here close to the center. I'm just going to stick it in there all the way around. And I don't dilly-dally around with this, because this is, it dries quickly. And then I went back and got a little bit of yellow. Clearly you need to wash your brush off better than I did. And it helps if you can turn your item around, but something that's big like this, it's a little hard to turn it around. But that way I've added a little bit of shading into those petals. Okay, so I'm going to clean out my brush, and then I'll pick something for the center. Now, when you get alcohol ink really close to another alcohol ink, it may bleed into the petals, and you got to be okay with that. Alcohol ink is its own kind of thing. So for the center of this, let's do butterscotch, which is this one. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Okay, and you don't need much. Okay, you do not need much. So I'm scraping most of that off against the side of the well, and I'm just going to put some of this in the middle. Now there is a white alcohol ink which I have. I didn't use it. I don't know how it would do on this, but might do fine. So I've just got butterscotch on there. You don't know how the colors are going to be until they dry down. That was my experience. So it's kind of an adventure in what they do. So for stems, for example, I'm going to pick up, let's say, lime green, which is this one. This is a piñata color. So you can drop the alcohol in there with the little pipette, or you can just get some on your brush and scrape off most of it against the side of the well, because you don't need much. That is my experience. You don't need much. Okay, I'm going to just put the stem in, and I'm going to paint in my leaves. Now some of you may not like doing this at all. I spent quite a bit of time this week messing around with this because I was fascinated by the technique, and some of the people in book club had success with it, some didn't have success much at all. And I thought, oh, I wonder what, you know, if there's something you could do to kind of guarantee your success. Well, trying to guarantee your success with alcohol ink, and this color right here is Bottle. I'm just going to drop some alcohol in it and let it activate. Trying to guarantee your success with alcohol ink is you gotta have a little bit of serendipity in your life. You know what I mean? All right, so this is Bottle. I'm going to put in a little bit of Bottle at where the leaves meet the stem, and then I'm going to go back to the original color, which was Piñata Lime Green, and then I'm going to just blend those colors. This is not like any other kind of paint that you would work with, because it's not paint, it's ink, right? So just kind of pat the colors in there. If you want to put some of the dark color up here where the stem meets the flower, then do that. If you want it where it goes into the base, then do that. So that's a little bit of Bottle that I put up in at the top and at the bottom. But you can see that you can get a little bit of shading on it, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so let's go to this flower over here. So let's do an orangier flower. So I'm going to put a little alcohol in each of these, and maybe a little bit in this one, just to see what happens this time. Okay? So let's, this is the Piñata, I didn't get quite enough, the Piñata Calabaza, I don't know, something like that, orange. That's what my son used to call it, orange. So let's come over to, and you got to keep your hand out of this because it does take a little while for it to dry, so you kind of got to keep your hand out of it. I tried shading a couple of different ways. One way I tried it was putting the dark color where the dark color would go, like down near the center of the petals. And if you slop outside the line, which I did a little bit right in here, you just kind of have to ignore that. Because the more alcohol you put on that, the further it's going to go. So I tried putting the dark color next to the center, and then blending a lighter color, kind of trying to blend the two together. I found it worked better if I put one color like this all the way on an area, and then I came back and added like the shading color close to the middle on top of what was there. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I did. I'm just telling you what I did. No authority. Don't pretend to be an authority on this technique. Just thought it was fun. Just thought it was fun. Just thought it was something that was worth playing around with. All right, and then I'm gonna get a darker color, so maybe we'll do this. I've got some cranberry up in this well. That's cranberry. So let's see if we can activate a little bit of cranberry. And this is not how I did this when I was doing it. I was not painting with a palette in my hand. I'm doing this just so you guys can see, hopefully. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cranberry in there, right on top of the orange, close to the center of my flower. What kind of flowers are these? Pretend. They're Barb's kind of flowers. They're pretend flowers. One of the things that I enjoy doing when in my creativity is I enjoy taking one thing and reinterpreting it, which is what I did here. I took something I had already done, which was that vase of flowers in fabric, and then reinterpreting it in this technique. Just because I like just to see. Sometimes I find something I was like, oh, I like that so much better than the original. Okay, so for the center of this one, let's do something. Let's go with Dandelion. This is a new color I just got. See if we can wake it up. But these wells will look like, oh, there's nothing left. That's because the alcohol is dried up. There's still lots of color there. And sometimes alcohol inks will start spreading around, you know, and they'll do weird things, you know, like they'll start moving each other out of the way and stuff. It's like, you just gotta kind of be okay with that, you know, you gotta kind of be okay with that. This is terracotta down here. I'm gonna just drop some alcohol in that. Pick up a little bit of terracotta. Get rid of most of it on the palette. And see if I can put a little bit around the outside edge of my center. And then I'm going to rinse the brush, go back to my Dandelion, and dab over that just to see what it will do. And then leave it. I like that. I like that. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Jean. Okay, so that's the process. That's the process. Let's come down to the vase, the container. And I'm going to switch to a little bigger brush. And I'm going to wet with some alcohol some of the different blue colors. So I'm going to put in some, this is Pool and Turquoise, and this is Stream. So I'm just sticking some alcohol in there, and maybe a little, this is Patina. So some blues and greens. And I'm going to pick one side of this vase form to be the light color, and then the other side to be the dark color. And I'm going to work from light to dark, just to see how that goes. So I'm going to dampen the brush and alcohol just to get something in the brush. And I'm going to pick my lightest color, which is Pool. And this would be much better if you do it. Let's put the light color over here. If you turn your project so that it's comfortable in your hand, comfortable for yourself to paint it. I'm trying to do it under a camera so you guys can see kind of what my thought process is. So I'm just putting some of this color on here on the front part of the base. Okay, so this is the light color. I'm putting that on the front of the base. So I've come down, oh, maybe a quarter of the way. I'm going to rinse the brush a little bit, pick up the next darker color, which in this case is turquoise or something like. So I'm picking up the ink, and then we're going to come on top of this, and that's a little too light. So I'm going to add some of the full strength ink back to my well, because that's a little too close to the same as the pool. So I just dumped some more ink in there. So I want it to be a little bit different. And then I just kind of dab between the two colors, and that may not look like there's any difference to you at all. There is a little bit here, but okay, so just dabble a little bit of that. I'm going to go to Stream, which is the next one that I have that's darker, and it's considerably darker. So we'll see how much darker it is than those, but they're all kind of similar in the color. And I'm just going to go around my stuff here, around the leaves and the petals, and but I found that one of the things that was important for me in doing this was that I didn't take too much time. You know, I just put the color on there and kept moving. Alright, so I've got that color on there. I'm going to go back to the one before, which was turquoise. So I got a little bit of turquoise on my brush. And I'm just going to kind of dib-dabble, technical term, between the colors just to kind of blend those together. And I'm going to bring a little bit of that stream color on the other side of this flower, because it looks real strange if you like had a stream on this side of the flower and then you added something else on the other side. That looks really weird to me. So I bring this other color out here like this. Okay, so I've got that color behind the flower, and then I've got denim on here, which is really dark. So my denim is in here, and again what I'm doing is I'm looking at my palette that I created right here so that I know what colors are where, because I don't have a clue in the world what's there. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of denim, and it needs to be something that's, for me, that's not sticky, and you can feel it go from sticky to ink, just like all of a sudden it goes, oh, I'm not sticky anymore. And then I'm just going to put some, I'm going to fill in the rest of this section out here to the outer edge with the denim. Like so. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go back to Stream, because that was the one I used before that. And then just kind of go between the colors to get them to blend a little bit, like that. And so that gives us a vase that's got a little bit of dimension on it, kind of rounds a little bit. It's a pretend thing. It's a pretend thing. So, you know, can't worry about it too much. Now, to make this good and dark inside the vase, just to give it some, you know, the feeling of something down in, like it's got an inside, I'm going to use denim, which may or may not be what I used before. And I'm going to just use the corner of the brush. And if I was really thinking, I would drop down to the teeny little brush, because this is tiny little areas over back in here. But I'm just painting with the very corner of this angled brush. Like this. So I'm just painting around the stems of the flowers. Like so. Okay? So we've got a vase, and theoretically the flowers are done. Okay, so let's see. For the bottom down here, in order to kind of draw some of the color down, which I realize I'm not doing the entire thing, but I'm doing part of it for you. I'm going to go and pick up one of the greens. So let's use, let's see, this is the Ranger Citrus green right here. Okay. I like it when one of the things I like about alcohol inks is they are translucent, and I like that so you can see through them. But you still get the effect, even though I'm going over the top of that Sumi ink, which is what we did in the beginning. Even though I'm going over the top of that, I still can see the cracks in the ink and the wax paper, the inky wax paper. So I just used some of that citrus and just blended it out. But isn't that cool? Now you do have to be careful, because sometimes you can rip the wax paper. I did that. Yep, I did that. So you got to be a little bit careful. When the wax paper gets wet, it kind of gets vulnerable and fragile. Don't hurt its feelings, it's fragile. All right, and then if you want to add color around it, which I did, then I just decided which color I wanted to use. And you know, just for grins and giggles, I'm going to use pistachio, just because I haven't used that before. So I'm going to find my pistachio ink, and I'm going to refresh it if I can find it. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to put some more. Just put some fresh pistachio in the little well here. Okay, so this is my little well of pistachio. And hopefully I got the green out of my brush, but if I don't, oh well. And then I'm just going to get a hold of some of this ink. I'm going to put the palette down now, because you got the idea of what I'm doing. And then I'm going to just start coming around my flowers, and I'm going to constantly blend this, and it really doesn't take much to do this, but I kind of want to keep that edge. I want to blend that edge out. So hopefully I don't end up with a big line, you know, drawn, something that gets dry out here on me. So the larger the brush, the better when you're doing it. This is my experience talking. Now, what we got going on here is a yellow green and a blue green, which is not necessarily all that in a bag of chips. But in my infinite wisdom, that's what I chose, so oh well, you know. So I'm just putting the color in here around my petals, and then brushing it out. Okay, just brush it out so that you don't end up with any big old ugly lines drying out here. If you did, you might have to come back out here. If you had a line that got established that wasn't what you wanted, you might have to come back here and add some more ink to it and blend a little bit more. I did find that I used quite a bit of alcohol ink, which honestly I was very happy about that, because I've had these inks, most of them, for a long time. Like, it's nice to use up your stuff until you get frantic that, oh no, I'm going to use up all my alcohol inks, then what am I going to do? Like, they're never going to make alcohol inks again, right? So do you get the idea? So you just keep going and going, and as you add the colors, it kind of picks up the what you've got behind it, and kind of brings more of that batik look into the picture. Okay, so that is where I'm going to stop on this, and we're going to talk about, because I went through this whole thing about how you have to flip the pattern and you have to do all that. Let me see if my computer is, oh, we're still good. How good is that? Okay. But when you put the Sharpie on to get the image on there to start with, you had to flip it if you wanted it to be a certain way around, because if you don't flip it, it's gonna, my flowers are gonna be the wrong way around. Yeah, that's not an original idea. I saw actually Tim Holtz did that when he was showing how to use that palette a number of years ago, and he used one of those refillable, I don't know where mine is, it's a refillable pen that he put blending solution in, and then he was using that to paint out of the dried palette. So that's, you know, I'd like to take credit for that, but it's not mine. Yeah. Okay, so from a distance you can kind of see how it's coming along, right? Okay, then let me grab my art journal so you can see what it looks like on top of a white page, for example. And I'm just going to close up that palette so I don't mess up here. Now it's going to take a little bit for that to dry, and you know, you got to be okay with that. I suggest that you let it dry for a while. Get the alcohol out of the way. Okay. All right, so back to the art journal where I used the one that was really dark. Okay, so this is the one that's really dark. I want to put this one on here so you can see the difference in what happens if you don't use one that's really super dark. And you'll also see that this one is the opposite of that, because this, I did not reverse the pattern. I wasn't thinking. But you can see the difference in how the colors look, how much more alive they are when you don't start with a background that's too dark. This one, because it started out with this really dark dark wax paper to begin with. First of all, it was really tough to see the image behind it, but also it muddies down the colors so much. That's why I went back and used a white pen around it, and the white pen didn't really want to work so well on top of the wax paper. Even on top of matte medium, it wasn't too fond of that activity. But you can see the difference, so you can see the comparison of how they look. You like them both? Yeah. Yeah, for the softer and daytime-ish instead of the nighttime. Yeah, so this has, so I even had to put white dots in the background just to liven up that background, because it was like, oh my gosh. It looks like I've got it outside. Now it looks like it's outside on the porch on a starry night, but you know, that's that. So what I did to attach this to my page after it was completely done, and it sat overnight. Your alcohol inks may still be a little sticky, I found, but even after it dried that long, but you know, c'est la vie. And actually, I kind of like this contrast of the yellow green and blue green. I don't know. Any hoot. I cut it down to, I gave myself a straight edge over here, okay, so that I had something to work from. And then I just used matte medium, and I put matte medium, lifted this up, and I put matte medium, a pretty heavy coat, and put this back down, and then put matte medium over the top. Now, as I said, some of my inks moved a little bit even after that period of time. But that is what I did. So matte medium is what I use to hold it in place, and I will tell you that it is not, this has been done for a couple days, and it's not trying to come up or change or do anything. So that seemed to have worked. I don't know, nobody told me to do that. I just tried it. All right, let me move this out of the way. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at and talk about these guys, because these, you don't have to reverse them at all. Okay? All right, so these came from, these are designs from my books. This one, it says down here Mandala Medley, which right there, Mandala Medley. And this happens to be, this design on page 10 is where these are ebooks. So this is page 10 from the ebook. And what I did is I printed it out, okay? I just printed out the whole thing. And then I took a piece of plastic, which was, because I wanted to make these for cards. And I like the square cards a lot, the square card bases. And they come in different, sometimes you can get them in different colors. This one that I used happened to be white because I wanted the white to show off the alcohol ink, right? So what I did, these are, these cost more to mail, by the way. So don't stick a regular stamp on these and think you're going to get away with mailing them. They cost more. So what I did is I took a piece of plastic, and it's about the same size as my card base. Okay, you can see it's about the same size. And then I used this against my image, and because I like mandalas, that's what I'm using. So I used this, and it depends, you know, you can look at this several different ways, and you can say, yeah, that's how much, you know, I can see I can get that much of an image to use out of this design. So what I did then is I took a red marker and I just outlined what I was going to be able to use in for this image. Okay? Are you with me? Are you following me? Are you following me? And so this one became this. Now, why is it round instead of square? Remember I told you that you need to make sure that you allow a lot of extra around your wax paper. Well, I didn't. I violated my own rule. So I made myself a circle of plastic, and that way I knew it would fit. You know, I could see through it, so I could see my design after I painted it, because I wasn't going to let it go to waste. I was trying to be conservative with my painty wax paper. Like, yeah. Anyway, I just got it too close to the edge. That's the truth. And so I just cut out a circle, and that way I could draw around it, because I can draw around the edge of the plastic, and then I could cut out my little design. That design came from this image. Okay? And I was trying to be stingy. That's right, Sharon. I was trying to be stingy. And when I applied this circle, which only goes that, you know, to the edge, I was trying to stick it down to the card base. Some of the ink did kind of move out a little bit because I was brushing the matte medium to the edges, and kind of the inks kind of moved around a little bit. You just got to be okay with that, you know. There's a little bit of inky thing going on up here. So if I want to, I can come back and I can add some more embellishment, or I can just go, it's a handmade card, people. It's a handmade card. Okay? So that is how I worked with the designs here from the various parts of this, from the various designs from this particular ebook. It would work for any of the mandala designs. It would work for any mandala design that you have. You just have to know how, even though it's a big design, you don't have to use it all, okay? You don't have to use it all. This one I didn't do all of it. This one is from, I did use this one, and this is from the Mandala Madness Designs from the Deck. So if you buy a one of the card decks from us, the Mandala Madness cards deck, and these are inspiration cards. If you're not familiar with those, we have all kinds of videos and stuff on them. But you get this print out, this ebook of all the different designs that are shown throughout the cards deck. So what that does then is it allows you to use those designs in a different way. So this is one of the ones from the deck. And again, I used my little piece of plastic, and I figured out how much of the design I could use. And then this is what it looks like when it's done in the very same technique that we just did. But because it is symmetrical, you don't have to worry about flipping it upside down and stuff, right? So there's that one. This is the same one done in a different color combination, okay? Different colors. The little bits that you see on this one, that's a glaze pen where I just added some black glaze pen dots on it. This one came from this one. This is also from the Mandala Madness Designs from the Deck design. And so I use the center part of that outlined by the red. Now here's the thing you got to think about. If you want this design, instead of being, you know, with the kind of squarish look, if you wanted it to be like this on point, you've got to allow more paper beyond the designs, because it takes more if you're going to cut it on point. So allow more as opposed to less, okay? Allow more. This one turned out really dark in here, and so that's why I added some white dots. And if you can see the shiny bits in there, that's glaze pen that I added on top of it, just to give it a little something something extra. And this was another one that I picked out that I thought I might do, which I haven't done yet. But this is another one from the Mandala Medley ebook. It will allow for that much to use. I would not do all these. I would simplify this center a lot. So I'm just giving you ideas for, you know, different ways that you could possibly use this. And then I've got one here that is this one. Okay, so this one has not been attached. So I thought, well, we'll stick it. We'll attach it to the card base so you can see kind of the process that I used. I'm not saying it's the right process. I'm not saying it's the only process. I'm just saying it's the one I used. This one is the same as this one. Okay, so this is the same design. But as you can see, this one is going to be, I think you can see, it's going to be on point as opposed to this one, which is turned slightly. So it's a little different look between the two. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my matte medium, and I've got to go get my brush. And the first thing you got to do is decide, you know, take a visual look to make sure that you got enough room for the thing to go on, which on this one I did. So yay for me. When I put it down, I used matte medium. golden matte medium because that's what I have. And I need a brush, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I got a brush. I got golden matte medium. I got my projects. I just need a surface. So, and I have some water. All right, so I'm just going to stick this on here. This is just simply to protect my surface of my table a little bit. Even though this board is positively nasty looking. Yeah. Okay, so what I do is wet the brush and squeeze out all the excess water. And then I open my matte medium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to open my, I'm thinking here, it's like, remember how you did this. I've slept since then, people. I've slept since then. Put a piece of wax paper around this. That way it protects the inside of your card and you don't glue your card together. Hopefully. Now, this, what you want to do is look at your design. This is the part that has the ink on it. See how shiny it is? If you turn it the other way around, see how dull it is? Now, you may like that side better. I don't like that side better, but you might. This is the side I painted the inks on. Okay, that's the side I'm going to use. But I'm saying you might like the wrong side better. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap a coat of matte medium on here just to give something on here, and don't be too stingy with the matte medium. And your card, because this is not, the cards don't like this, that's going to immediately start curling up on you. And I have a fan going, so it's going to be a race. It's going to be a race to see if we can get this accomplished. Okay. All right. Then I slap some matte medium on the back of this. Mostly in the middle. The middle is what I'm concerned about at this moment. I don't care about the edges right now. Then I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see if I can get it centered on here. As much as possible. And if I cut off a little bit of the tip, let's see if we can go this way, because I thought it was fitting on here fairly well. Okay, we're gonna say that's as good as it's gonna get. I'm not gonna stress out about it. And then I'm gonna just gently put it down in the middle, because that's where I mostly had most of that matte medium concentrated. See, it's not on the edges yet. It is going to want to wrinkle on you a little bit. Oh well, it's wrinkly wax paper. Then I just lift this up and I add, and I just kind of smear it out. The wax paper wants to stretch. So working on the journal page is a little more challenging because it's big, but you know, rather than I found that what worked better for me was pushing it down rather than dragging it, like, you know, like using a card or something, a scraper. I found it worked better for me to just kind of smash it down. And then I just worked my way around. like that. And kind of, especially if you're working on a card, you want to kind of be a little bit neat as you work. Otherwise, you're going to be making do, as my mom used to say. Well, I guess we'll just have to make do out of that. I don't know what do is, but we made it quite frequently. Okay, so smash it down. The paper does tend to want to stretch a little bit, and so you know, you may have to ask it nicely to lay down. And another thing I found that helped was to take a something like a scraper like this and push. Rather than drag it, I'm pushing. Okay, push. That's what I did. Then when I was pretty sure I had most of it, you know, down pretty well, kind of, it's good to kind of lift it off the wax paper to keep it from sticking itself down there permanently. And I just lift it off the excess matte medium, put it back in place like so. This place over here is being ornery. You just have to be more determined to stick it down than the thing was not to be stuck down. Now I can see where I'm coming off the edge up here with the design. You know, that's the way it is. Handmade thing. Handmade thing. That's right, Jamie. All right, now I'm going to use a coat of matte medium. I'm not going to spend much time doing this. I'm just going to put it on, drag it out, let it go. Don't brush back over it and over it and over it and over it. As I told you already, I did find that some of the ink, you see it coming off on the brush a little bit? Some of the ink likes to move around. Once it is sealed in there with matte medium, I don't find that it comes off of my hands or anything. And it's not a ton of it, but it is a little bit. Okay? Leave it alone. Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. I can see a little bit of a bubble right in here. You probably can't see it, but there's a little bit of bubble. I'm going to let that sit until the top of it becomes tacky, is sealed over. Once it's sealed over, it's not completely sealed underneath, so I can take my scraper and I can push down on some of those places. If some of it just wants to bubble up, you just got to live with it and go, okay, all right. So you want to live up. So you want to do that. And then be sure you clean your brush. Pink soap will get matte medium out of your brushes and keep them from drying to be a hard mass. So if you're not familiar with pink soap, I highly recommend that you look at pink soap. It's a Speedball product. All right, so once that has dried enough, then you can turn it over and you can cut the excess away by using your card base as a guide. And then if you want to, you can ink around the edges, which is what I did on this one. Can you see the ink around the edge? That's that. And then if you want to add some paint details, these are paint pens. The white is paint pen, Posca paint pen, and the black detail is the glaze pen. That's what gives it that real shiny surface. So that is how I stick them down. That's how I stick them down. Working with transparent or translucent papers is more challenging, when it comes to sticking things down. But, I'm a mandala kind of girl. We all know this about me. And so I like having mandalas on my stuff. And I like having those so I can send them out on my cards and what have you. Okay, so that is that. Okay, thanks you guys. So this is going to have to sit here, and it won't take it very long to dry, but in fact we can probably go ahead and I'm pushing it a little bit, but hey, you guys are worth it. So I just use a pair of scissors. Then when it's all dry, if any of the little edges want to lift on me, then I just use a pin, like a straight pin, and a little bit of tacky glue. And then you have these little, you know, leftover bits. You can use it, slap it down in your art journal if you want, which is kind of fun to do. But you use a straight pin and some tacky glue, and you can just sneak a little bit under those edges and seal those edges down, because sometimes they will lift right on the edge. So if you're not a member of How to Get Creative, I invite you to come over. The VIP class is tomorrow. We're doing something really fun tomorrow. We're taking rubber stamp images and turning them into foam stamps, and then printing on fabric. So that's what we're doing tomorrow for the live VIP group. That's their class for this month. All right, so let me move this off so you can see it without the nasty board behind it. All right, so even though I whacked off the tip on that, you know, it's not bad. Unless I call it out to you, you really don't know that too much. But anyway, that's how that looks. So I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see. I mean, really close. So you can see, in some places you'll see maybe a little white area. That's just where I didn't get the ink quite close to the lines. But you have to realize you're zoomed in tighter than anybody would ever look at this. But what I want you to see is that if I tip this, it went down flat on the surface of the card. So yeah, I just wanted you to see that it does go down flat. And I didn't try any other medium to glue it down. I only used the golden, this product, golden matte medium, because it's what I had. So it might work with Mod Podge. I don't know. I don't like Mod Podge because I don't like the smell of it. It's not that it's not a good product. I don't like the smell of it. Some smells bother me. That's one of them. Okay, so that is that. So, all right. So from a distance, just so you can see, let's see where the, because sometimes I think it's good to see things from a distance. So here is the original art journaling page, which I probably will go back and add some words or something to this, because I just have a thing about adding words. So this is the original art journal page. It's really dark. This is the one that I showed you about, done the right way around. Okay, so you can see the difference in how the two look. And also the design is the right way around because I flipped the pattern, not thinking on this one. So that is that one. So don't hesitate using it in art journals if you would like. And then here are the various cards, just so you can see them from a distance. So there's that one. There's this one. This one. But I love how bright and pretty they are because I like the colors of the alcohol inks and how bright they are, and yet I like how the that kind of batik look tones down the ink a little bit. So it's an oxymoron. I like it, but I like it toned down. And there's the one that I just glued down for you. And these are painted exactly the same way as I showed you on the other thing. It's just easier because you're just doing big shapes. Thanks, you guys. You like to add words too, Laura? Yep, I do too. All right, so that concludes this part of this stream. So you know what that means, people. You know what that means, right? You know what that means? Yeah. It means it's time for, we should like cue the music, shouldn't we? We should cue the music. Almost knocked my keyboard off. That would be bad news. Gotta get the sponsor cam out. Oh, thank you all. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I just thought it was a fun technique, and I'm not saying it's exactly the way it was done in the book. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's how I took it, because I like taking an idea and then going off in my own direction. You know what I mean? Okay, so, all right, sponsor cam is set up. Let me get said sponsors and remove liquids from the table. Yeah, that would be a really good idea. Hello. Hello. Have you been so good, but you've been so mistreated? I'm so sorry. So yeah, why do I call them the sponsors? I always get asked that question. I call them the sponsors because they let me stream, usually. Usually. This is Chance. Whoops, let me get here we go. This is Chance. Yes. And hi, Shu. Didn't realize you were here. Chance likes to get up really close and personal with the camera. They usually let me stream, and that's why they're called the sponsors. Yeah, it's Charlie. Here. Complaining all the way. Complaining about his life. His sorry lot in life. How terrible it is. How terrible it is. So, yes, Chance always wants more of the camera than he wants his friend to have. So, yeah. Okay, peoples. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here. And I will see you next month, if not before. Just depends on if I have some extra time to stream. We'll do something. You never know. We might have to make some new family members or fix a new photo album, right? All right. So thanks for being here. And I think I put all the links to most of the stuff that I used in the description box below the video. If you want to check those out, if there's something you're wondering about, you can check that out. I think Mary is doing, Mary Attier is doing a stream tonight, and that is at 7:30, I think, right? Okay. So anyway, all right, I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy, and I will see you next month, if not before. Bye, everybody.